Welcome back, dear listeners, to another exciting episode of English Unlocked. I'm your host, Paola Ortega, and today we have a fantastic topic lined up for you. We're diving deep into the expression out of the blue. Joining us, our special guest, Luis Zuñiga. He is an experienced English teacher who has helped countless English as a foreign language students to unlock their language skills. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you, Paola. I'm thrilled to be here and talk about this fascinating expression with you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. So now let's get right into it. Out of the blue is a commonly used expression in English, but what does it actually mean?
Well, out of the blue is an idiom that we use to describe something unexpected or surprising. It often refers to an event or a situation that happens suddenly and without any warning.
Oh, that's right. It's like something coming out of nowhere. Interesting. Could you give us an example to illustrate this expression?
Absolutely. Let's say you are sitting at home, enjoying a peaceful evening, and suddenly you receive a phone call from an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. You could say, I was sitting on my couch when, out of the blue, my friend called me.
Well, that's a great example. Out of the blue is perfect for situations like that. Can you think of any other examples?
Of course. Imagine you are at work and your boss unexpectedly announces that you've been promoted. You could say, I was at the office when, out of the blue, my boss told me I got a promotion.
Well, it really captures the element of surprise. Now, let's talk about the usage of out of the blue. How can our listeners incorporate it into their everyday conversations?
Sure thing. Out of the blue can be used in various contexts. It's suitable for both formal and informal situations. For instance, if someone asks you how you met your significant other and it happened unexpectedly, you could say, we met at a coffee shop. It was completely out of the blue.
That's a great example. It adds like a vivid touch to storytelling. Are there any other important points our listeners should know about out of the blue?
Absolutely. It's important to remember that out of the blue is an idiomatic expression, so its meaning is figurative. It doesn't refer to the color blue or anything literal. Also, it's worth mentioning that it's a fixed expression, meaning we don't usually change the order of the words.
Thank you for highlighting those points, Luis. It's essential for our listeners to understand the figurative nature of the expression. As we come to the end of the discussion, do you have any final thoughts or advice for English learners regarding out of the blue?
Sure, but additionally, I'd like to share a personal experience related to the expression out of the blue.
Please go ahead. Would love to hear your story.
Well, a few years ago, I was traveling in a foreign country, exploring the bustling streets of a vibrant city. As I was walking along, taking in the sights and sounds, I suddenly bumped into an old classmate from my university days. We hadn't seen each other in over a decade, and it was completely unexpected. I couldn't believe our paths crossed out of the blue in a city far away from home.
Wow, that's truly remarkable. What a coincidence, I must say. It's amazing how life surprises us sometimes. Your story perfectly encapsulates the essence of out of the blue. Thank you for sharing that with us, Luis.
You're welcome. It was a memorable experience that reminded me of the power of chance encounters. And that's the beauty of the English language and idiomatic expressions like out of the blue. They allowed us to express and share these remarkable moments with others.
Absolutely. Language gives us the tool to communicate and convey our experiences effectively. Well, dear listeners, we've reached the end of today's episode of English Unlocked. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on the expression out of the blue. And, Luis, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. Remember, listeners, Don't be afraid to incorporate idiomatic expressions like out of the blue into your conversations. They add depth and color to your English communication.
Definitely, Luis. Thanks so much. And dear listeners, remember, keep learning, keep striving, and keep unlocking the power of English. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
English Unlocked is produced and edited by Tarija's CVA library team and hosted by Paola Ortega. For more information about our podcast and to access additional resources, visit our social media sites on Facebook and Instagram.